I just wanted to make an additional comment on how this stuff, when I am exposed to the whatever this stuff is, obviously, um, I can get real bubble headed, just. And I know what I started to say in my last video was how it affects me. I've got videos last year from when I was being bombarded with this stuff. Okay, whatever it is. And I drove directly to the police station and asked them to test it. They tried to tell me they didn't have those field test kits. What? How many articles have I read from that county that said that, the field test said that the drugs were positive on this traffic stop? What? You're going to tell me you can't test what was being shot on my vehicle? Now, here's what scares me. I have a convertible this year. I'm not going to stay fucking cooped up in my fucking car. But I'm being attacked. This stuff is being shot on me. This is a chemical, biological warfare. Period. I'm intelligent enough to know, and I'm in tune enough with my body that I know what the effects drugs can cause, the symptoms, or whatever. Yesterday morning, I went out of here because I had forgotten to get enough cigarettes to wake up to. And of course, that alone is going to make me a little bubble-headed. But I noticed that I got the other symptoms of when I'm exposed to this. Okay, I'm sorry. It does make me anxious, but it's not anxiety. I've had anxiety attacks before, and these are not anxiety attacks. This is a chemical, this is a biological reaction I'm having to an exposure of some sort of chemical agent. I don't have a great sense of smell because, as you can see, and this is not a domestic violence situation. This is due to a car accident. But I don't have a great sense of smell. So I can't smell something. But when I inhale, when this goes into my nose burns. Like, well, you know how it can burn, say, if you was to get water up your nose. You get that little burning sensation right there. And then it travels up. It goes from here up to here. And I get a headache. And then it's when I start getting really, really anxious. Now, last year, when this stuff was being shot in my truck windows and hitting the back of my seat, I'm wearing a tank top, this, whatever it would backsplash and hit my back. That spot, my back would just instantly start pouring in sweat. Just that spot. It would hit my arm, I'm driving with my arm on the windshield, on my steering wheel, and I would feel what felt like a bug hit my arm. And then within seconds, just that spot on my arm would just bubble up in sweat and start pouring. I'm sorry. Anxiety doesn't do that. And I've noticed since I've opened my door this morning, which is why probably the video was a little erratic, because that's what it does to me. It makes me very anxious. And I've got that right here, that sensation right there, right now. The other night I went to the dispensary, and honestly, it's the very first time, because the only reason I never went was because we was able to go to the cigarette shops, the vape shops, and get it there. But governor doesn't think that we should have rights to, products. But I went there to get my flour, and I had said something. She had, I don't know even how the conversation started now, but I did notice that I was very jittery at that point. And I did notice that I was followed the whole way there and the whole way back, as I always am everywhere I go. But the bud tender, well, I don't want to blow their cover, but I'm going to blow their cover, was wearing a wire. It was very obvious she was wearing a wire. And I don't even know how the conversation started, but I had made a comment about something that happened a couple years ago, and she kind of turns her head down like this and says, "So I'm dealing with a crackhead or a meth head right now." And then I was followed the whole way home. But throughout the night, I'm hearing, the patterns of my windows and doors being hit with whatever this is. And well, let me just say let me put a little side note on this. The gentleman that was here before me was in here deceased. God rest your soul, Mr. Quick. And I have made commentary last year on one of my other YouTube channels regarding the fact that I believe that, our government's doing this, or our government's involved in it somehow, because, a couple articles on Quora, which I'm pretty trustworthy of Quora. I mean, it could have been AI generated, and since my phone's hacked, sent directly to me, just to fuck with me like they do with everything else. But I'm not crazy. Am I a conspiracy theorist? I'm a conspiracist, because most theories become a reality. And we are at war, silently. Maybe not on our land that we're aware of yet. But if I'm being chemically attacked for biological warfare, who else is? I know I've been being attacked. I've been being attacked for at least 4 years now. They have got me, have gotten me exposed to enough of these chemicals a few times, that it has set me over the deep end, and I needed a break from society. But I caught on to it. That's the thing. I caught on to it, in 22, I caught on to it, that I was being stalked. I was being followed everywhere I went. And that's about the time that a lot of my mental instability was going on. But at one of my breaks from society, I had put in my records that at that point I believed I was being poisoned, and the means that I had figured out how I was getting that way. Now, when something like this, I'm on the one side or the other on this, but Of course, that makes you think about those that are around you immediately. But there's been other things that's happened that's made me believe that our home was being broken into. Things were being tampered with. My clothing, for one, coming in and spraying chemicals on my clothes. My furniture, putting in things that I, the only one in the house, consumed. So that would also that immediately makes you start thinking about those that are the closest to you. But I'm beyond that. I'm beyond that. And if it was being done to me, then it was being done to those closest to me too. Just saying. And the things that I've experienced, the things that I have documentation of, photos and videos of those things that are causing those delusions. Sorry, you can't take a video or a picture of a delusion. But yeah, if they're happening to me, it's not happening to just me. I've seen those same markings that I've got pictures of on my car on other people's cars. Walking through parking lots, I see them. My brain just works that way. Patterns pop out at me almost like holographically. It's crazy, but that's just the way my brain works, and it's always worked that way. But that's where it puts me over that genius level IQ. Like with Einstein, he was considered crazy too. Just saying.